Hey guys, Civilord here, back again with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the DC Multiverse Collector's Edition Platinum Chase. Oh jeez, the grid from, I believe it's Forever Evil. This, of course, brought to us by the fine folks over at McFarlane Toys, who are going to remain fine folks for the majority of this review anyways, because this is a really cool figure. However, if I'm being honest, I would have much rather preferred the standard version of good old Grid here. I just think it looks better aesthetically. It's funny because yesterday I was saying how I would have preferred the Platinum Chase of Mr. Terrific, and we got the standard of him and the chase of good old Grid here. But a wise man once told me, how's it feel to win? So, with that being said, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look at all the Grid has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with a hockey puck display stand we're used to seeing with all McFarlane Toys releases. It's got a little Shelver DC logo on it because, look at this guy, he don't need that shit. He's a big, chunky monkey, based off a collectible figure, in fact. That said, his only other accessories are the collectible trading card, which does have a bio on the back. If you're curious about good old Grid here. Long story short, Evil Cyborg. He was a virus inside of Cyborg that has gained a physical consciousness and has since joined the crime syndicate. So if you have that Starro collectible crime syndicate wave, this guy will fit right at home with them. Well, the standard version anyways. But he comes with that and this sucky card plinth, which you can throw right in the garbage, because who gives a crap about that stupid shit? So, taking a closer look at good old Grid here. Again, he's on that Flashpoint Cyborg collectible body buck. So he is freaking huge. And thankfully, not as loose as that figure. However, he's not as articulated as some DC Multiverse figures because he is on that bigger body. But I think it's enough to get him into a cool pose. I managed to do one myself for the URL for this video. So, beggars can't be choosers, right? That said, again, this is the chase. He's supposed to look like how he first appeared in the, what is it, Cyberverse, Cyber World, Nanoverse, Nano World, whatever it is, inside of Cyborg. And I just feel like he lacks paint. I don't know, he just looks like an evil green booger man instead of a giant killer zombie-looking robot guy. To me, at least. I think if this guy was translucent or glow-in-the-dark, would have made him a little more special. You know, Hot Wheels with the Super Treasure Hunts, it's a more special version of a standard release. I feel like that's what McFarlane needs to lean into with these Platinum Chases. Like, if the standard version has a plastic cape, give the chase a wired cape. You know, they just do that anyways for standards, but you know what I mean. Something to make them a little bit more special. In this, it just feels like it's less special than the regular version, you know? But as far as his articulation is concerned, because I don't want to be a Debbie Downer with this review, because I do really like this figure. I think he's awesome, but it's just difficult for me to appreciate him right now. He's got a double ball peg in the head. Moves up and down. Tilts side to side. Rotates. All that good stuff. Shoulders will move out, back down, rotate forward and back. He does have a little bit of that beautiful butterfly, but not a lot. His pauldrons do pivot up and down, so you can get the arm up. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow on this side at least. Not too bad. And he does have a hinge in the wrist. I don't think it's a ball hinge, but it does hinge and rotate. So that is that. Single jointed elbow over here. Not as loose as the Flashpoint Cyborg, again. That's nice. He can lean not really far back at all, but he can lean forward a bit. Back in neutral, and he can rotate. So that is good. Waist, we'll move to, as well as pivot a little bit there. Hips will kick out to the side, back down, forward, back nice and tight there. A little loose on the in and out on this side, but it's not too bad on this side. Does get stuck on the diaper once in a while, but nothing too bad there. He does have a thigh cut, a single jointed knee with rotation below it, give you your boot swivel or whatever, and then he does have hinged feet, heavily detented, although on this side it's a little easier to move. This side is rock solid. He does have an ankle rocker and a toe hinge, which is fine on both sides. Not too loose, not too tight. And then peg holes at the bottom of the feet if you want to use the stand. I mean, I don't think you need to, like at all. Just look at this guy. So that is the grid in a nutshell. You know, the standard version looking better notwithstanding. I like this figure quite a bit. It's one of my favorite DC Multiverse figures of the past year. I think it came out great. At least from a sculpt perspective, since again, I don't have the, as far as I'm concerned anyways, the superior version from a painted detail standpoint. But since they are the same sculpt, I will say, sculpt is fan-freaking-tastic. I mean, McFarlane always kills it with scary-looking monsters, and this guy's no exception. So, with that being said, it is time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Grid, alongside the only comic book-inspired cyborg figures we have received thus far in the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse line. We have the Rebirth Cyborg to the left, and the Collect-to-Build Target exclusive Ouchasium Flashpoint Paradox Cyborg to the right, and you can pretty much tell where Grid gets most of his parts from if you take a closer look at that figure. But I gotta tell you, I think we still need a decent cyborg figure in this line. The Rebirth one isn't bad, he just has mad QC issues, and then the Flashpoint one, very specific, you know, very specific to the Flashpoint Paradox storyline, so you can't really fit him in with anything else. But I still think we need a decent, really decent cyborg, maybe a collector edition so we can have all the swappable arm attachments and whatnot, and maybe a little bit better QC. But at any rate, there he is with the cyborg figures we got. I think he looks good with both of them, especially if you get this version. This is the one that specifically fights Cyborg in the, is it Cyberverse? Nanoverse? Something like that. So getting these two out of the way. Such a heavy figure, that Flashpoint Cyborg, just like Grid here. Let's bring in our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith, right, and the infamous Current 11 Spawn, who I think Grid looks better next to, the Spawn stuff, but that's just me and my bias towards good old Al Simmons there, who is dwarfed by the Grid because, well, he is based off a Collect-to-Build after all, so he's going to be a little taller, right? So that being said, it is time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from the fact that I would have much rather preferred the standard version of good old Grid here, I have to say, my biases towards that version aside, this is a really, really freaking cool figure. First of all, it's a hunk of chunk of burning plastic for the $30, a collect-to-build, if you will. And we all know McFarlane is not exactly one to give you that kind of bargain nowadays. So that is cool. But second, as I said before, he's just really freaking cool looking. No matter what version you get, I think both look cool. McFarlane's always killed it with scary monster looking figures, and this guy is no exception. If that's your thing, if you're into that, then you definitely need to pick this guy up and check him out for yourself. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, catch you guys later.